Redmi Note 10 5G or the Realme 8 5G. Which of these phones is the best? They are super similar. When you look at the spec sheet, both of them have 6.5-inch 90Hz IPS screens. They both are powered by the Dimensity 700. Both of them have 5,000 mAh batteries, 18-watt charging, 48 megapixel cameras. So really, what is the difference between them? I will find out in this in-depth comparison with some side-by-side tests, camera comparison, and just to let you know, a little spoiler here, that one of them clearly is better than the other.
So build quality of both of these is very similar. Now there is a difference in the weight, but not too much of a difference. We are looking at 186 grams versus 191 with the Realme. So both of them have these plastic backs on them. I prefer the finish of the Redmi. I think the Note 5G just a little better, but it does tend to pick up a lot more and show the fingerprints, as you can see right now. Now with the Realme 8 5G, it also does show the fingerprints, but not quite as bad. And great to see there's no big dare to leap slogan on the back of this one too. So they both have the fingerprint readers on their sides here. So that is on the right side, fingerprint readers there. Now thickness of them, we are looking here at about 8.6, I think it is, 8.6 millimeters versus about almost 9 millimeters with the Realme 8. So slightly thinner, but really side by side, you can almost barely tell that difference there when looking at them. So the frames around the outside, plastic. When we take a look down here at the bottom of both of them, both got the Type-C ports, loudspeakers, microphones, and the 3.5 millimeter is down the bottom here of the Realme, and you'll find it up the top of the Xiaomi, as well as the microphone here and an IR transmitter. So the IR transmitter completely missing. The secondary mic on the top of the Realme 8 is not here either. They've just done it with the single mic on the bottom. So if you want the best call quality, that is the Note 10 5G. You don't notice too much of a difference of it, really. And then the 3.5 millimeter quality is actually better out of this one too, but I'll get into more of the audio later. Let's have a look at the fingerprint unlocking. So both of them are reasonably quick. So always on capacitive, just tap that there and it unlocks. That was quick. And you'll see it's slightly slower, I have noticed, on the Xiaomi. Quite a bit slower. So I'll touch it now, and you can see that difference. So it is a little slower, and then the animation does make it look slower. So with this one, touch it now. Yeah, definitely faster on the Realme. So the cameras on the back of them, both here do have the 48 megapixel sensors, and then we have the two really kind of useless 2 megapixel cameras on both of them. So one is macro, the other is for depth information. There are no ultra wide cameras with these models here. And I wish they would stop with this trend of just adding silly 2 megapixel cameras, which offer very poor quality, low resolution photos. It would be better just giving us a better main camera, or just combine those two into one ultra-wide camera. It's far more useful. And a big difference with the SIM tray setup. So with the Realme 8 5G, we've got the 2 nano SIMs and a micro SD card. But with the Xiaomi here, so the Note 10 5G, we just have the 2 nano SIMs. And if you want to use a micro SD card, you unfortunately have to give up on one of those nano SIMs. And then our screens here, so both of them IPS panels, they both have rather large bezels and a bit of a chin at the bottom, and the cutouts in different locations. It depends where you like it. Do you like to have it centered right in the middle here? This is an 8 megapixel camera on the Note 10 5G and a 16 megapixel one on the Realme 8 5G. And I'll get onto the cameras later on. I will do a mini camera comparison, so side by side, and I'll let you know which one I think has the best quality out of these two. IPS panels on both of these, and they're both average, but there is a clear winner here with the brightness. So I'll just open up Display Test. It's an application that I like to use for both of my reviews and comparisons because, well, it just means we can look at the same images and do a few little tests here. So I've measured both of them, of course. They're both 90 Hertz, but the brightness, there's a huge difference. I have 398 nits of brightness on the Realme 8 5G and a very disappointing 272 nits only on the Redmi Note 10 5G. So it's a much duller display. It's a lot harder to make out in direct sunlight. And this for me is a huge factor, and later on the performance of why I would go for the Realme 8 5G. And then touch response on both of these screens here is pretty good for the type of phone they are. Not really having too much of an issue, but I think touch response does feel better and come through a little faster the response and just opening things up with the Realme, again, a little quicker. Overall, it just always seems to be a little bit faster to me. So under display here, we'll find we got options for, of course, that refresh rate, and you can force both of them onto the 90 hertz, which I'm currently running right now just to keep everything a little bit faster. And I believe most people will be doing that. You'd run the 90 hertz. It's what you've paid for, really. So refresh rate set on 90, and under more here, you will find it set to 90 hertz as well on the Realme. So both of these phones, they do run Android 11. We've got Realme UI 2 and MIUI 12. Both of them are on, at the time of this video, the latest firmware updates and patches. There is a clear difference in the performance. To me, the Realme 8 is always a little smoother and quicker no matter what I do. Recent apps and everything, gestures, it just seems to work a little better. I have noticed this with the Xiaomi, especially when I use the Note 10 5G, I go back to the Realme 8 5G, it just feels clearly to me far superior in the ROM optimization and performance. I see more animation judders and stutter coming through, micro stutters on the Xiaomi again. And it's just, again, all optimization there. So if you want the faster feeling and in use mobile, definitely the Realme. And it does excel in our battery life. So you can see here, now I calibrated both of these screens to 200 nits of brightness, and the battery test ran from 100% down to 20 to give us the result you're looking at here. So it's a fixed battery life test, and there's a huge difference in the battery life performance. So both of these phones, for most people, will still be, well, with the Xiaomi, should be about 2 days, and definitely 2 days with the Realme 8 for me. Now, I have noticed that with the standby on both of these, that with 5G, the standby drain doesn't seem to be great, but it is worse on the Xiaomi again, seems to lose a little bit more. Charge time on both of them, you are looking at just under 2 hours, so about 150 minutes to charge the 5,000 milliamp hour batteries. Both have the 18-watt charging. GPS on the both of them here is good. They get good accuracy, but I've noticed that the Realme 8 has always a better average signal strength and always seems to lock on to normally about 2 or 3 satellites more. So I would rate it as marginally better GPS, and this was both done side by side. And you can see the slight difference there. It's not really much, and I wouldn't focus too much on that. Now, if you must have the fastest wireless, again, there is a big difference here. That's probably down to design of the antennas or just software. But you can see at the spot one here, closest to my router, 177 megas per second versus 143. And even at the lowest point here where I test downstairs, I was getting better speeds out of the Realme. So superior speed and just pretty much everything coming through now with the Realme. It also has the Camera 2 API Level 3 support, which is what we want. That's the maximum level for third-party camera applications. We get full support only on the Xiaomi, which is still okay, but ideally Level 3 would be better. Both of them do have a security Level 1, which is good to see and expected, so you can run Amazon Prime Video, Netflix, and things like that. And then there is a difference here in the Antutu score. So this is Antutu version 8, and 35,000 point difference here. And I do actually see this difference. When using the phones, the Realme 8 just seems to feel, most of the time, a lot quicker when I'm using it. And here we have the internal storage speeds. So the Xiaomi gets a win here because it does have UFS 2.2, versus UFS 2.1, so you can see the sequential and the random reads and writes there, they are just slightly higher. But I wouldn't focus too much on this because, again, in general use, real-world use, the phone that feels the fastest is clear to me. That is the Realme 8. And let's take a look at bloatware. So both of them have a lot of bloatware on them. And I noticed that there was a lot more in the Xiaomi. So the Xiaomi has about 25 what I would consider garbage bloatware applications that you can quickly uninstall. I know, but I still like to point this out. The Realme has about 15 bloatware apps, so both of them not good in this department. They cram a lot of junk on there that you probably just need to spend 30 minutes going through or 20 minutes uninstalling everything there. However, with the Realme, it doesn't have system apps with advertising in them, which sadly the Xiaomi does. So when I installed Antutu, it gave me this advert. And I know that there's a way to disable this, but I'm reviewing these phones out of the box, no tweaks, no changes, how they are when you just power them on, and you will have the advertisements with the Xiaomi. And in the Realme phone, at least with this European ROM version, I haven't seen any in-app ads. Audio quality, so testing out the 3.5mm output on both of these phones, it's close, but I do have to give the win there to the analog audio out to the Xiaomi. So the Note 10 5G sounds a little bit better to me, to my ears. Now the loudspeakers, so both of them have the single downwards loudspeakers at the bottom here. So there is no loudspeaker at the top, so we don't get the dual loudspeakers, not at this price range. It's a shame that they don't have it. Both of the speakers are average kind of quality. They both sound very, very similar. So I'll play them now at 100% and let me know if you can pick up on any differences. To me, they really sound the same. So I have to pick a winner, right? So I think the Realme 8 is just fraction louder, slightly louder than the Note 10 5G's loudspeaker. Both of these models also do have NFC, so if you need to use something like your Google Pay or your pay services, banking things with NFC, it's there. Both pass our safety net check. Gaming performance between them both is very, very similar here with PUBG. So what I did is I used the smooth graphics setting, and that gave me the ultra setting for the frames per second. And both of them seem to be really the same. So one time it would be 39 frames per second on the Realme, and then 41 on the Xiaomi, and then it would swap around. So really, I'd have to call it about equal with the gaming performance. Moving over to the cameras now of these two phones, you can see a big difference with front-facing quality here with video footage. We have electronic image stabilization with the Xiaomi, but with the Realme we don't, so it's shaking around all over the place. And you see as I walk up these steps here that it does shake around a bit, and more usable footage definitely to me on the Redmi Note 10 5G because it's smoother, even though it does crop in quite a bit closer. So as I jog up these stairs, that Realme is shaking all over the place here. With video, we just have 1080p on both of these phones here, so there's no 4K option. And the quality for the price of these phones for 1080p is okay. It's not too bad. And we do have electronic image stabilization. He says I pan around, it seems that the Xiaomi has a little bit, the Note 10 5G has a little bit more of a panning judder. But let me know in the comments, which one do you think for video performance performs the best here?
So the difference here with the camera is that the stills for me look better on the Realme 8 5G, but the video was slightly better on this one here. So the Note 10 5G has the better video quality, it has the slightly marginally better 3.5mm output to my ears, and it has slightly faster storage, but really this one dominated. The Realme 8 5G just better really at everything else, and the most important aspects like the UI speed and the screen is so much brighter, photos look a little better, performance in general just it's day and night. And even gaming, the frame rate difference there with PUBG was surprising quite a bit different. So it's down to optimization, and well, with firmware updates things could improve on both of these. So let's hope that the manufacturers do push out some updates to improve in some of those areas like the Wi-Fi performance and other things with the Note 10. But yes, clearly this to me is the winner. The Realme 8 5G is the phone I would get out of these two. So thank you so much for watching this in-depth comparison. I hope you did like it. If it was useful, please give a thumbs up and do subscribe for more up-and-coming videos from me, and I will see you in the next one.